Welcome to another amazing episode of Raising Private Money. I'm your host, Jay Conner, also known as the Private Money Authority, and I have an amazing guest to join us here today. This is the podcast, where we talk about how to raise private money without ever having to ask for money. We don't even have to fill out an application. We make the rules. We are the underwriter as the borrower. My guest is a dear friend. He's been on this show multiple times before. We're in a mastermind together. We've known each other for years. He's raised over $1 million in private money. And his real passion and expertise these days is really helping you keep more money in your pocket and not letting it flow out the window unaccounted for. My friend and guest is an active real estate investor. He's been part of closing over 850 deals, real estate deals, over the past 10 years, and he's done it all. I mean, he's done wholesaling, turnkey, the Burr method, owner finance, rentals, lease options, you name it, he's done it in real estate investing. Well, since he's had the opportunity to sit in just about every position and seat there is in real estate investing, he realized that when he really got to looking at stuff, that the money that was coming into the company, it was all going right out the door. There's like nothing left over at the end of the month. So since he had the opportunity to really analyze everything and be in every seat, he has found a calling, and man, is he good at it. Found a calling in the company's finance seat to where helping businesses see where their money is really going. So David has helped real estate companies turn around from literally just about going out of business to building cash reserves. And how do they do it? Well, he is an expert at using what's called the Profit First cash flow system. So to help even more people, just recently, he's a published author and he's written this amazing book that's called Profit First for real estate investing. So my friend's goal is to completely transform the real estate investing industry by helping real estate investors just like you make and keep more money in your pocket. In just a moment, you're going to meet my friend and brilliant strategist when it comes to profit first. You're going to meet my friend in just a moment. You're going to meet David Richter right after this.
If you're a real estate investor and are wondering how to raise and leverage private money to make more profit on every deal, then you're in the right place. On Raising Private Money, we'll speak with new and seasoned investors to dissect their deals and extract the best tips and strategies to help you get the money, because the money comes first. Now here's your host, Jay Conner.
David, welcome to the show.
Jay, thanks for having me back. I'm excited to be here.
I know it. You're always such a joy to have on. I mean, besides your good looks, you're smart. You really get to tell people how to keep more money in their pocket. And I'm just excited to have you back on. But in our previous episodes where I've had you here on the show, Raising Private Money, I don't think I have asked you about your own personal journey of raising private money.
Yeah.
I'd like to start out with that, and here's why. The name of this show is Raising Private Money. So we got a lot of people that are real estate investors, seasoned real estate investors, the newbies as well, that want to learn about how to go about raising private money for the real estate deal. So we definitely want to speak to that for a few minutes. And then I want to segue over to what you are so passionate about these days, and that is, helping real estate investors keep more money in their pocket and stop letting it, flow out underneath the door. Well, the sad thing is, wouldn't you agree, most real estate investors, until they learn how to do the business like you are able to help them with, do they even really know where the money's going?
No. That's a simple answer. Not usually.
It's like, what's the mindset of most real estate investors? Is it like, if I can just do more deals, then I won't have to worry about it?
That is it. And if there's money in the bank account, we'll be okay. Uh,
Right.
I mean, it comes from a lot of things too, Jay. Like a lot of business owners get into business, but it's the wild, wild west. Like we weren't taught or trained how to be good business owners. We might know how to do real estate or we might know how to do a piece of it, but like there's other pieces besides just making the money. And a lot of people don't have the keep money skill or they're never taught it. Like, and that's why the cash flow game is so popular in the real estate investing space because it's like it helps you to learn some of that, those skills. So yeah, there's some of the mindset right there.
Well, and along with that, and I'm getting the cart before the horse. I said we were going to talk about private money first, but here we
Here
go.
we
I
are
mean,
again. Yeah.
here we are again. What do they call it? Squirrel. Anyway, so and then you've got entrepreneurs. They started. They're really good at real estate. They're good at
Yeah.
negotiating. They're likable. People trust them. They do deals, and they look in their checking account, and it's got 100,000 or $150,000 in the checking account. It's like, what should I do with that money?
Right. Yeah.
as in foolishly do with that money.
Exactly. I tell people, well, let's just go down the private money trail because Profit First deals with private money a lot. Because in Profit First, if you haven't listened to my previous episodes with Jay, I'm pretty sure I went deep into it. But Profit First is a system for your cash, literally built on like the envelope method. But instead of using envelopes, you use bank accounts and you're naming the business checking accounts certain things to keep your dollar safe and know where every dollar goes in your business. And so there's profit and owner's comp, like owner's compensation to pay yourself and owner's tax. But in the real estate investing Profit First, I wrote specifically that you should have an OPM account, other people's money, because it is so easy, Jay, when you said like someone has 100 and 150, it's even more dangerous if it's not their money. Like if they get private money directly from maybe friend, family, there's no escrow account, they send it directly to the investor. It can be very hairy if you're like, oh, I feel really good. I've got over 6 figures in my bank account. What should I go do? Or like, what could I pay for? And it's like, well, a lot of that should be for your rehab or for your rental repairs or whatever that money was sent to you for. And if you don't separate out your cash, then you could end up running out of your rehab money before the rehab is over. And it's the same horrible feeling as running out of, the money before the end of the month. It's like now we're running out of the money before the end of the deal. So it's like that's another big thing I see. And I just want to hit on that because that was a perfect point right there. If you've got a lot of money in there, doesn't mean that it's yours to spend. And I want to give you that clarity because clarity creates the confidence to make good decisions in your business versus what you were saying, Jay, like, what should I spend this money on?
Yeah, exactly. So let's go back to private money. So
Yeah.
you've raised private money. You've raised quite a bit of private money. So let's speak to our real estate investors here on the show now that want to raise more private money.
Yeah.
What have been some of your favorite ways to raise private money?
Oh, man. I will say I got to raise private money two different ways for myself and with a company I was working with. With myself, I bought my own deals. And man, I wish I would have known about private money from my first deal. I bought my first deal right out of college. And after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I actually bought a house off the HUD home store, so a foreclosure. And I bought it with an FHA 203K loan. So it was like repairs plus, the purchase price of the house rolled into the loan and that was a good first house, but I I still that was the very first deal I did and that was the most money I took out of pocket for a deal because I didn't know any better. One of my goals personally as an investor is to keep as much cash on hand for myself to be able to weather any storm that comes. Because I'm a big, Warren Buffett, all the people that have stayed rich for a long time, and especially Warren Buffett's rule is number one, don't lose money. Number two, look at what rule number one. And that's where from that first deal, once I actually started working with this company, I got exposed to the concept of private money. And
Hmm.
that really helped me even know it was out there. So every deal I did from then, I would get private money. And then if I wanted to, I'd refinance them later or if I sold the deal. But my big way first was honestly like friends and family. Was there someone in my friends or family circle that was looking for a better return? And did they know anyone? And just asking them good questions like that. And then from there, I also, because I was exposed to the real estate world, I got exposed to some good groups as well too, networking groups
Mm-hmm.
that I got around where they brought together high net worth individuals that were looking to invest in real estate. Then another way was another group that I was a part of where they literally brought investors and lenders together on a cruise. And I'm like, honestly, the number one way for me is just get out there. Get out there, talk about what you're doing, but also ask it you I'm pretty sure, Jay, your whole approach and the way that we approach it was, how is this good for you? And are you looking, for a good deal versus I've got this great thing, you should look at what I have. It's more of
Yeah.
like, what are you searching for? And do we have something that fits that for you? And that's really, honestly, I'll never, I still, I wish I would have known about private money from the first deal, because then that wouldn't have been all that cash that I put out on the very first one. Because then I would get, the private money and then refinance later on, which I never had nearly the amount of money out of pocket, going forward from there. But I would say my number one, networking. Number two is being exposed to people like Jay, like who know where private money is and can teach you, and that can go down that road. I remember back when we were doing about 25 deals a month in that company, like we knew about you, Jay, and like I'm pretty sure we even bought some of your stuff back then. And it's like we wanted to know more, and like what are all the different ways. So it's like that was another big thing in our life too, was not just networking, but then who in our network do other people trust to teach about it as well.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
Jay, like your name still, I mean, this is probably now 2012 I bought my first deal. What is this, 2024 when we're recording this? So 12 years
Mhm.
later, like you've been in this space for a very a great amount of time to be able to go out there, build a great name for yourself, and also to be able to help people and really get them the private money. So I would say those are the top two. It's like, who's in your network? And then your network leads you to other pieces that can open up bigger doors and bigger ways of thinking for yourself.
Yes. So you mentioned that you join networking groups that, so can you be more specific about that? What kind or of
Yeah.
networking groups? Like what do they do? And how do you find them? How do you find these networking groups?
There's three that we joined, three different types. We joined a local real estate investment association
There's a
because
writer downer.
that one right there is usually free to very trivial amount of money if you pay, usually 20
Hmm.
to $50 a month to just be part of that group. And
Hmm.
if you do go to that, I will say, because it's a lower barrier to entry, you need to ask around who the real players are in the room and
Yes.
like who is
You know,
vetted
that's
in the room.
so important. I mean, for goodness sakes, be very careful about who you
Yes.
listen to for advice.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I
A lot
I
of those members in those RIA groups, I'm telling you, I mean, they love to go, they love to network, and they'll never do a deal.
Right. So if you go to that group, you need to know who the players are. And I will say players do show up. Like people in the game and people lending do show up to those. I will say too, sometimes more hard money lenders show up where it's going
Mhm.
to be a little bit more expensive. So not always will you get the private money lender who's just like, oh, I just have money to lend. I thought this would be a good group to go to. They might be a little bit savvier in the RIA group. There was another group we got a part of that was more of a paid mastermind, but for dentists and doctors, like people
Oh,
with
yeah.
high net worth. And that one was really good because they vetted the members pretty heavily and they vetted us heavily as well too. So if you go and you don't have friends and family, or you've exhausted the resources there that, for the private money side, or you go to a RIA and then you exhaust the private money side on that side as well too, then if you start though to have traction and you're doing lots of deals, you might be able to join an actual mastermind of high net worth individuals, which
Mhm.
is literally a room full of people that will private lend to you. And that's
Mhm.
where the same thing, though. I've also seen in those rooms, you still have to do your vetting process, even though they pay more, even though they do, they're a much higher caliber usually than someone who's never going to do a deal in a real estate investing association. Still do your due diligence. Are they, where do they come from? How, like, and making sure that that you have transparency with them. There's a third group too, that I was talking about, where there's literally on Facebook a couple groups that go out there. They're called, just investment cruises, where literally you hang out on a cruise ship for a week at a time. And it's like they put together private lenders and real estate investors. That's been some of the funnest part, because you're literally trapped on a ship for a week and like they have like networking during that time. So I don't know, Jay, if you want me to say names of those groups, but that's where you can go out there and look for them, because I've enjoyed those. Those are usually good places as well too. Just always do your due diligence, like Jay was saying, and like I just keep reiterating here, and make sure that they're doing due diligence on you. Sometimes a private lender has saved our butts in the real estate world. Sometimes they're like, I'm not going to lend on that deal because I don't see it as a deal because of this reason, that reason, the other. That's where some of those lenders can also save your butts. But if you're just going after someone who has no idea in the real estate investing world, you also need to give them the confidence of what you're going to do with the money. But those are areas that I found for the networking types, real estate investing groups. There's masterminds. Then there's literally just like meetups or get-togethers on these cruises that put you in the same room.
I love it. Well, yeah, let's give value to our audience here, David. Give them the specific names of these groups.
If you look up Investor Addicts, that's one of them. Investor Addicts, just like if you're a drug addict, that's how you spell addict. They're addicted to investing. So Investor Addicts, I love the leadership there. They've got some great people heading it up. There was over 130 people on the last one. On the last cruise, just
and
of
is that investoraddicts.com?
I think they have a website now too. They used to not, but they used to just be on Facebook. You search them up, but it's gotten big enough now where they've got official website. There was also Captains of the Deal. I think I did that one year as well too. That's another one, but I've only done that once. I've been to the other one like 5 or 6 times. So Investor Addicts is the one that I go to. They have a great group. They bring together great speakers as well. So there's education, but then they're literally some of the nights they do what's called exchange meetings, and people will say, I have X amount of dollars in my IRA to lend. And like on the other side of the room, they're like, who are the real estate investors with deals? And like they'll literally do deals on the ship, which is one of the coolest experiences I've seen, because they do it right in front of people. And then they're like, okay, they do the agreement right there as well too, of like, okay, like this is what we're going to do once we get off the ship. And they agree to be like, here, I'm going to take this money and I'm going to put it on this house. And it's a really cool experience. Investor Addicts.
I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
I thought I knew about every group that was out there, but I must be transparent. I never heard of Investor Addicts.
Yeah, it used to be. You might know them by Financial Friends Network. I don't know if you remember that one. That's what it turned into when new leadership came in, and this one's been around for now 2 years, I think. So it's relatively newer with the name.
Well, thank you for that. Hey, you all. Hey, if you're listening to this show, that was a huge mic drop right there. So make note of that. All right, so let's leave private money for a second.
Sure.
And let's go over to profit first. So, in summary, what is the philosophy? What is the strategy? Of course, you wrote a book. Let's go ahead and tell everybody. Well, first of all, everybody the name of your book and how they can get it, and then you can tell them the philosophy and the strategy in summary.
Profit First for Real Estate Investing is the name of the book. You can either get it on Amazon if you just type that in, or you go to my website, simplecfo.com. We have a link there for the book as well if you want to get that. Then as far as the philosophy, I love teaching this, Jay, because if you're a real estate investor or you go down this road, you might have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or some of the very famous personal finance books out there, like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or Personal Development, or you've got the Richest Man in Babylon. Profit First has the same philosophy as all those other books, like Pay Yourself First, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A portion of all you have is yours to keep, The Richest Man in Babylon. Profit First literally just says it in a different way with a formula. Sales minus profit equals expenses. I make a sale, I take my profit first, or make sure I'm a profitable company, and then I still have the expenses there to grow the business, but I'm making sure that we're healthy. And it's so funny, Jay. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably run a for-profit business if you're getting into real estate or if you are in real estate, but so many of us end up owning an accidental nonprofit We don't make profit because we don't place profit as a priority in a for-profit business. And there's nothing wrong with a profit. That's a symbol of health for your business and your company, and as a leader and as an owner. Then there's the system behind it. That's why I wrote the book too and went down hard into the profit first world, because it's not just that mindset. It gives you a system like I was talking about before. You literally set up business checking accounts, just like in the envelope system. If you've heard about that in personal finances, you're literally giving every dollar a name and putting it into different bank accounts in your business checking accounts, and you name it like profit or owner's compensation, owner's taxes, to make sure your taxes are paid, and operational expenses. And like I said, a bonus account, OPM. If you're going to take private money and they're going to send it to you directly, you can also give your private lender. I just was at an event, literally, where there were real estate investors who had set up profit first in the OPM bucket. And they're like, I love telling my private lender, I'm keeping your money safe here so I don't mingle it with the money to run my business. And they just feel like, wow, this person's savvy enough to actually have a system for their money. So it's like, that's why I love teaching this, especially here too, Jay, because I feel like this is such a synergistic topic. If you're going to do private money, then you want to make sure your private lender is taken care of and they feel taken care of. And there's a system for their cash. So, you're not just spending their cash on whatever comes through, out the door. So this is where profit first, the mentality, pay yourself first. And then from there, there's the system to make sure it happens, because every dollar that comes in, you make sure you're sweeping it into the accounts where you're paying yourself first, and then you build your business expenses from there.
David, I know, and since you consult with a lot of real estate investors and you've helped turn companies around from almost like literally being out of business to being very,
Yep.
very profitable. My question is, and I know you've noticed like a long list of mistakes that real estate investors make in this world of not really managing their money and knowing what's going on. But if you had to boil it down to one common mistake that real estate investors make as relates to your expertise, I have a guess what the answer is. What is that common mistake?
Man, you're making me boil it down to one, like you said, because there's definitely a laundry list. It just might be, it's not even more of a mistake, because a mistake implies that you knew what you were doing and you did it wrong. I feel like in this space, entrepreneurs, real estate investors, like, it doesn't matter what business you're in, we are not taught this stuff. We are taught how to make money. We are not taught the skill of keeping money.
Mm.
And I think that's the biggest thing that hinders people, because they think it's this huge knowledge gap too. They think that keeping the money skill is only for accountants and bookkeepers to learn. But accounting is the language of business. And if you are a business owner, you better speak the language of business. And that's where I feel like Profit First gives you a first glimpse into, how do I read what my money is telling me and speaking to me? And that's where I
Mhm.
tell people, like, there's mistakes for sure. Like, if you're just like, hey, I just want to go out there and give all the financial stuff to a bookkeeper or someone, like, that might be a mistake, because then you're actually just abdicating responsibility and saying, good luck. Like, I'll see you next year when you have my taxes filed. But I would say it goes even upstream more than that. We're not taught the keep money skills, so we don't even know where to start.
Got you. Great answer. David, what's the best way for people to get in contact with
Yeah.
you so they can learn about how you can help them keep more money? Obviously, get your book.
Yeah.
Obviously, get your
Yeah.
book. But how else?
So simplecfo.com. If they actually go to simplecfo.com/gift, then you can download my book for free.
Oh,
The whole
wow.
thing, the ebook, the audio book. I also give a profit first cheat sheet, because if I'm going to tell you the biggest mistakes, no one's teaching this, I want to teach you. Like, let me give you the first steps of profit first. So even and that's what I love about this system. If you're doing one deal or you're at deal 1,000, if you just start to implement it, you'll be more profitable from the very next deal. So if
There
you
you
go
go.
there to that, you can get the book.
All right. If you're listening to this show, go to www.simplecfo.com/gift. That's simplecfo.com/gift. And of course, your contact information, that I just gave out, is going to be in the show notes, all that. David, God bless you for coming on the show. It's been all my joy.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Look forward to seeing you soon at one of our masterminds.
Yeah,
Well,
likewise.
there you have it. Another amazing show here on Raising Private Money. I'm Jay Conner, your host, and I really appreciate you following. If you're listening on one of your podcast platforms, be sure to follow me so you don't miss out. Really appreciate the rating and reviews, and that way we get to keep having amazing guests like David Richter continue to join us. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, be sure to like and share, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss out on the upcoming episodes. I look forward to seeing you right here on the next episode of Raising Private Money.
Are you feeling inspired by the knowledge you gained in this episode? Then head over to jconner.com/money guide. That's JCONNER.com/money guide and download your free guide that shares 7 reasons why private money will skyrocket your real estate investing business right now. Again, that's jconner.com/money guide to get your free guide. We'll see you next time on Raising Private Money with Jay Conner.